Hey, how's it going? Look at all these people. I haven't seen you in so long, everybody. Carla, Zach, everybody. Oh, there's Sherry. I know George knows all of you, or most of you. I'm now in Nashville, trying to recreate what you saw before. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. So if you can't hear me very well, anything goes wrong, blame George. No, let me know. And he's watching right now, but he can't talk. Hey, Joe, got your question. We'll be giving George that question. Nice to see you. Hello, Jared, Lana, Brian, and Brian Weaver. 2 Brians. Marianne, Phil, everybody's here. That's awesome. Well, you know the drill. We've got to do a little business. So, you know, remember these guys? If you haven't gotten one, what are you waiting for? Christmas is coming. And these guys, what? And, you know, that vinyl record, I think those of you who are on the mailing list, and if you're not on the mailing list, what's your problem? Those of you on the mailing list saw that there are copies left of the 7-inch, 33 RPM Carmen Sandiego re-record vinyl record. It's the orange edition, not the blue edition. The blue sold out. So if you're not sure where to go for that, it's I believe it's ZIA, Z-I-A Records, but I'll post another link later. They do have copies left. I thought they were all gone because the blue one sold out. So please check that out. Also, need I remind you, tour dates are coming. We've got one in Oregon. It's Oregon for Wisconsin, not Oregon like in the Pacific Northwest. Oregon, Wisconsin. And then we've got holiday tour dates starring somebody that you might be hearing from tonight. That's right. George Baldi is joining us for the holiday tour dates. So it'll be like old times, except not quite, because there's a couple different people. But George will bring the special sauce, and it'll be awesome. So please come, please grab those tickets. I believe all of them are on sale right now, including Oregon, Wisconsin, hosted by, promoted and hosted by our new sound engineer, Fred's successor, Nate Mendel, God bless him. And so if you want to go to Madison or fly into Madison, Oregon is close. And without further ado, let's see if I can make this work. It's been a while. Here we go. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. Give me mine about that time. Me was Mr. Rich. You really are a hero. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as a bee. Mr. Grinch. You're Batman with a greasy black tail. I'm depending on you to tell me the truth. Hey, here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say, yeah. It's alright, it's alright. Where in the world is Watch your back. Ooh, there he is. There he is.
Cool. That's cool. That's cool.
My my onstage partner in crime. I don't think, you know, some of us, I haven't forgotten, but some of us may have forgotten how good you are on stage, how smooth those moves are. And let me bring both of us up here. How smooth those moves are. It's great to see. That's all I have to say. So how was your summer? We'll start with an easy question.
It was great. It was great. It was hot. It was so hot in Florida. Oh my gosh.
I think everybody was hot.
Yeah.
I think that it goes without saying, Florida is never not hot. Is that true, or does it? We don't have to talk about the weather.
You know, we call it temperature.
Temperature, yes. Is it hot here or hot here? Well, We've got lots of people in the chat right now, and I think you may see that on your screen. Is that true? It's been a hot minute since I checked
No,
it.
actually, I just
All
see
right.
myself. So that's
I
cool.
will make sure that I read them for you. People are saying, "Hey, we've got all kinds of folks. Some you know, some you don't." Um, oh, there's Brenda Lee. I know you know Brenda Lee.
What's up,
Let me see if I can
Brenda?
bring her up. Let's see. There she is. Hi, George.
Yeah,
So good to see you.
good to see you.
Some of these other ones you might remember.
Okay,
There's
all right.
Brian, Lacey, George, Debbie, Yoko from Osaka.
What's up?
Woo, woot, 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 woot.
Aloha.
Oh, hi. Oh my gosh, I miss Japan. There's
I know.
Brian, who's at all our Florida shows,
Yeah,
and you'll see
Brian.
him again. Brian's a super fan. Donna.
Donna, hey Donna.
Anyway, it's great to see everybody. It's like I said, it's been too long, and I figure what a great way to start off the new season, but with George Baldi. So let's get right into it. So there are lots of questions, but I want to do a little walk down memory lane first, if that's okay. Oh,
Cool.
here's one. Wait a minute, hang on a second.
Thaddeus.
You know Thaddeus?
TKO.
Okay,
What's up?
and here's our super fan from Brazil.
Nice. Yeah,
Yep.
he posted a lot on Facebook. Yeah.
Oh yes. So anyway, let's go. Let's go roll it back. A lot of people know some of this stuff. A lot of people don't. So I think it's good to kind of talk about it because honestly, there is lots of information to convey. So I'm going to go to this. Let's go to this. And then go to, give me a second here. Oh man, it's been a while. Okay, so let me read questions first.
Okay.
So we've got Nick and Kristen. Nick and Kristen, this is a good start to our talk about your past. Can you confirm for us whether or not you have a brief appearance in the thank you video by Boys to Men? Now, for those of you who don't know, George was in the group that predated Boys to Men with some of the same guys, right? How many of the same guys?
So Nate, Wanye, and Sean and Mike, when I left, that was the group initially, obviously. So I met them all. Sean came in. He was the last one to come in.
Okay, and
Which
then did you have some sort of brief appearance in the thank you video? I don't think you did you?
I don't think I did either, but there's a possibility that they might have used some footage from the school. That we went to, because remember we went to performing arts.
Let's
So
look at
that's
some of that. I think this is it's called Unique Attraction. Is that right?
yeah, yeah,
Now, which
yeah.
one are you?
So I'm the one with the black jacket on and the white shirt standing on the
Oh yeah,
side.
right there on the right, right?
Yeah, that's Nate in the back. I can't see who's in the middle right there, but on right beside me. But sitting right in front, that's Mark Nelson. He sings with As Yet.
That's now. He sings with As Yet now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And he came back with Boys to Men actually and did a tour with them in Vegas when Mike left because he had scoliosis. So I
Oh.
think they tried to put the sound back together, but they put another high guy in the sound. So I don't really think it worked out as well as they thought. I'm sure people enjoyed the sound, but you always need some bottom.
Sherry
You know.
says Boys to Men still needs a bass. Is that
Yeah,
true?
I know. What's up, Sheree?
Sherry's got the info.
I got so many pictures of Sherry and I, man. It's amazing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Sherry, that we will not be in California this year, but our hearts are with you. So let's keep going. Why not? This is a backstage photo, I think. Who's this? Where are we?
This is backstage Epcot singing with the Voices of Liberty.
Okay. So you're in Unique Attraction.
Yeah.
You went to the High School for the Performing Arts, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then what happens next? How do you
I
get
went
to
to
the Voices of Liberty?
I went to Morris Brown College and I got a degree in vocal performance. I was singing with a group called Peace. It was a 6-part harmony a cappella group, funny, but more like the Take 6 sound. We did gospel.
And
So it
then
was,
after college, you just kind of looked for work? Or how did that work? People are always interested to know, like, how do you make that change? How do you get into performing, you know?
Well, I was in school, and Walt Disney World happened to come to Florida,
Ah.
and I just walked by and saw the sign, and I said, "Yeah, let me go sing a song for these folks and see what happens. Maybe they'll put me in the Mickey Mouse costume." You know? And sure enough,
Lo
they
and
hired.
behold. So what was your first show? Do you know what your first thing was?
Yeah, so I sang in the Christmas cast of the Voices of Liberty, and then they asked me to stay after that.
You just got right into Voices of Liberty.
Yeah.
I don't know if people understand that is a very prestigious gig. Like I saw them last weekend. I was in Disney World briefly just to see things I hadn't seen. And we did go to Voices of Liberty and they sounded amazing as they always do. But I know it's a competitive thing. So
It is very, very. I mean, you got to have a really, really good ear. And I don't want to say you needed training, but you're getting trained as you're singing with them because straight tones are a hard thing to do. And
right,
to
no vibrato, no
sing
stepping
notes
out.
all the way. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's watch another one. So this is backstage at Voice of Liberty. So this is new.
Yeah.
This is fresh, George. This is
I was
like
like
the
5 years
wrapper
old.
just came off the candy bar, and it's like that's awesome. And then, is this Lion King? What is that?
Yeah, so that's the inaugural cast right there. Obviously, I'm the darkest one on the picture, but I think it was the lighting. Um, and that was a big deal, man. That was I mean, I actually went to an event today where I was recruiting for my office, and they had Walt Disney World over there. And I walked over, just introduced myself, and the lady says, I said, "Well, what did you do at Disney?" She said, "Well, I'm in, HR now, but I was a stage manager for Festival of the Lion King." And I'm standing there like, she has no idea who I am because I opened the show.
Mm.
So I asked her if she knew about a buddy of mine who's doing it now. And she's like, "Yeah, Vero is great, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "You ever heard of a guy named George Baldi?" She's like, "No, I've never heard of
Well,
him."
you should. Yeah.
I said, "Well, when you get back to Disney, just say the name and see what happens."
Now that's at Animal Kingdom now, but where was it when it opened? Because
It
there
was
was.
always in Animal Kingdom.
Oh, so I've forgotten how old Animal Kingdom is. My
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah,
They
yeah.
just moved it to Harambe Village, and initially it was in Camp Mini Mickey. So they decided it's a jungle show. You should be in Africa. So
Let's.
they
Yeah.
moved.
I love
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom. It's so peaceful and fun there. I just love the
Yeah.
vibe. Well,
Mhm.
anyway, let's keep going. All right. So actually, let's take another question. Felipe from Brazil. Uh, what are your main musical influences and references when you were with Rockapella? We're just going to skip around a little bit. When you
Yes.
were in Rockapella, who kind of shaped your sound and what you thought? What was your context?
Well, one of the things that I do, which originated my sound, is I knew that I was a bass. So I listened to all types of music so that I could add different flavors and textures to the songs. So what most people probably know about me is that I'm able to create a resonant sound, like a resonance in my voice. There's a lot of basses out there and they're doing a great job, but my gift is being able to breathe and carry the note in full, which makes the sound more round.
Hmm. So did
Yeah.
you, were there any, I mean, obviously it's a small world, bass world. So were there any other basses that you'd heard, or was it just kind of like you're doing your own thing, really?
No, not really. I mean, when I came to Rockapella, when I did my audition, which was kind of cool,
Yeah.
um, the sound that I had already created came from me being in college. So I tell jokes that, my mom had me singing Old Man River when I was 4. So, it's, so yeah.
Do you think there was somebody? Can you? I mean, I know it's tough to think back to that time, certainly for me. But what were you listening to on your headphones back then? Do you think?
Well,
Best
I
guess.
grew up, yeah, I grew up with a Motown family. So, we would go to grandmom's house on Sunday, and then my aunts and uncles, they used to go to my aunt Lucy's house, which is next door, and they would do the Temptations, the Supremes, Marvin Gaye, and they were so good. And I'm saying, why don't you guys like go and be professionals at this? And they never did. So I decided to be the one in the family to do it.
So you were just, it was in your blood, it was in your
Yeah, I
soul,
mean, it
really, no pun
was
intended.
there. I grew
Yeah,
up in church. My mom, she was the choir director. And, of course, at that time they made us go to church. So, I just sang with the choir. And
yeah.
eventually I got a solo at one of the churches that we sang in. And I was like, okay, I think this might be it. Yeah.
Well, we heard in that intro video some pretty high notes. You've always been able to pop right up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the things that I love about the career that I had when I was, performing is that, my range was I don't know, I learned how to sing high as well because I knew that there was going to be some need in the sound. And I wanted it to be pure. So I think I took a year while I was in college, and I sang bass in the choir and some things, but I practiced falsetto like a whole year.
Because you have great control up there. I know that's the hard part, really, is a lot of people can sing up there, but you can control it really well.
It's just, if you're going to sing like a man and, you're going to be a part of the harmonies, fit in, don't stick out, fit in.
even, e- even a high man, yes.
Yeah, fit in, fit in.
All right, let's see. So, from there, did you go to Japan? Because here you are as Frankenstein
Yeah.
in
So,
Japan. Let's hear about that. So you're sitting in Florida, and they
mhm.
say, "Hey, George." Oh no, this is Universal Studios. So you're like, "Okay, I'm going to leave Disney because there's an opportunity." Is that what happened?
Well, so what happened was there were some guys that were at Disney and they wanted to audition for Universal Studios. And they asked me, if I would sing bass. And I was like, okay, I'll sing with you guys to help you get in. And then lo and behold, the audition was over. They asked me, they didn't ask the other
Oh
guys.
my
So
gosh.
that was so funny. So I'm standing there and they're like, hey, we got this rock and roll Beetlejuice show. And I was like, Frankenstein. I mean, I worked a lot at Disney. I did a lot of things at Disney. So I said, okay, I'll test it out. But lo and behold, did I know that I would be flying to Osaka, Japan and living there for a year and a half.
But I know when I was younger, I was like, "Bring it on."
Yeah.
Let's try all the foods and make all the things. And so you
Right.
probably felt that way, I'm guessing.
I was just like, a brother in Japan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so
Covered in
lost.
green paint. Yeah.
I'm gonna be so lost.
I remember when I first started going there, I know they have let's put it this way, they have a unique uh, feeling or way of thinking about black people.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter, but this is in the early to mid 90s, so
Yeah.
obviously things evolve. But I remember going to music stores and seeing that any music of any style, if it had black people in it, was in
Mhm.
the black section. Now I'm sure they've evolved a little bit. It
Yeah.
is but did you run into any issues, or were they very welcoming and like
They
American?
were Yeah, they were actually very welcome because they called us Gaijin, and
Yeah,
we were like opening up Universal
foreigner,
Studios.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, Japan. Like, I mean, so we had people from Canada, Germany, France, Spain, like all over the place, so that they could get a real sense of like difference.
Hmm.
And all of these people were multiplied in different shows. So, I mean, I'm from America, but I had like my the bride of Frankenstein, she was from Australia.
Oh, cool.
So it
You're
was
both
it was
green. Who cares?
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like we were all over the place. And then, but the one fun thing that like blew my mind when I got there is people wanted to touch me because they wanted to see if it came off, and I'm like, it doesn't come off.
Is that
It's
airbrushing I see, or was that
Yeah,
just
it's
somebody with
hilarious.
like
Yeah, like they
uh,
had never touched a black person, which was unique for them.
let alone a
Like,
green black person?
yeah,
Yeah.
but the funny part about it is they knew that I was a black man
Oh.
in that costume. And I kept asking like my Japanese friends, how did you know? How did you know? And they said, George, it's by the way you roll your hips. And I said,
Well, I
okay.
think a lot of us can testify that that is
I'm
probably an
like,
accurate.
okay, there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
I gave it up because I
It's
can't see.
all
Yeah,
loosened up down there.
yeah, that's like a prosthetic on my head. I mean, I did that makeup myself, so that's kind of
Oh, it
cool.
looks great.
Yeah.
What do you miss most about that time in Japan?
I miss the culture. Like that was one of the best times of my life. I
Mm.
mean, I had some really good friends. We had barbecues every night.
Mm.
And I'll tell you this, you cannot drink a Japanese person under the table. They would come to my, little apartment or whatever, and we would get a case of beer. And, I drink like one or two. They would drink the whole thing. It'd be just two, three of us. And I'm saying, what are you guys doing? They were like, we're drinking it for the taste. And I said, man, this is crazy.
Oh my god.
It was, I mean, when I was there, you got to be whomever you wanted to be. So I got off this plane after being, drinking a lot of sake, which I thought was water on the plane. And
No.
I get there, and you can be whomever you want to be because, their culture is it's so real when it comes to like who they connect with and how they stay together that I created some really really cool friendships and I miss it so much. I said that I was gonna retire there. That was the goal. But now that I run a business, I think that might not
Yeah.
happen.
Well, now let's. This is a good opportunity because when you left, what was the transition from Universal Studios to being around so that Rockapella could audition you and find you? What was that moment in between?
Right. So this was weird for me. Scott, no, not Scott.
Kevin,
Sing,
John.
no, sing off. I can't
Oh,
remember. I can't believe I don't remember his name. Deke Sharon.
oh, Deke. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Deke and I, we put together American Vibe at Epcot,
Oh,
and
right.
so I knew him, and so when I went to Japan, I'm there, and he sends me an email, and he says, "Hey, man, Barry Carl of Rockapella's leaving, and they're looking for a bass, and I told them that they should get you." And I said, "Dude, I'm in Japan." He's like, "Well, they're going to ask you to send a demo tape." I said, "A demo tape?" So I'll put
So
together
you
some new.
sent it. I don't even remember that. You sent it from Japan
Yes, I
back in the
did.
day
Like
when it was an actual tape.
right, like I did some dooms, and then I got a call. And I guess Scott or yourself told me, "Hey, I want you to come to Tampa and audition
Yeah.
with the guys." And when everybody knew I was coming back, boy, oh my goodness, because there were bases here, in town, auditioning, ready to go.
I remember one very talented fella.
What's
We
his
won't
name?
name names. No, no. He had an audition too, and God bless him, he's done very well since then. But
Yeah.
it was George for us. Uh, and so this actually relates to one of the questions. Phil in Brazil wants to know: did you prepare songs for the audition? What did you prepare when you came
Well,
in person?
right, but so basically, I believe you guys sent me a couple of songs I need to learn
Okay.
to add some bass lines to, and I learned the part, and I came and sang. I remember standing in Scott's house doing this audition, and Elliot's looking over at me like, "So you think you all that, huh?" I was like, "Dude, these are doom dooms, man. I've been
Aren't
doing
you
doom dooms
listening?
all my life."
He at that point he had three bases in Rockapella over because he co-founded the group. So
Yeah,
he was probably like, "All right, let's see what happens here." And of course, he loves you.
yeah.
So it was. I don't even remember this. I can't believe it. But you only prepared what we told you to prepare, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, you guys said after it was over, you're like, "Well, when do you need to know?" And I said, "Well, I'm flying back to Japan tomorrow."
So you weren't done. You just took a break.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I said, "I'm flying back to Japan tomorrow. So I'm going to need to know before I go because I got to tell these Japanese people, I'm leaving if this is going to work out for me." So on my way getting ready. And I think it was the day of, you guys left me a voicemail singing that I got it, that I was cracking up. I should have
Did you
saved
save
that.
that? Oh man. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I should have saved it.
Oh man, I
You know,
totally forgot that.
yeah.
It's
So
all
you
a
guys,
blur.
yeah, you were singing to me, and I was like, oh man.
It's
So
all a
I,
blur.
I go back to Japan and find out that they wanted to make me the music director of the park.
Oh.
So I'm like, what?
Oh man.
Because I was the vocal coach of the park,
Sorry.
and I'm saying, well, I might want to go back and spend some time with my daughter. It's been a year and a half,
Oh,
so
I think I have a photo of that beautiful person.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
this your daughter right here?
That's my daughter. Wait till you see her now.
Oh, she is a full adult person now,
Oh
I
my
know.
God. And she announced to me the other day, I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this, but I think everybody knows that I'm going to be a granddad.
What?
Yeah, she got married a year ago.
Oh, everybody, we scooped it right here on
We
the Rockapella
did
Hangouts.
it. She got married a year ago. And
Congratulations, man. Really, that's
yeah.
fantastic. You'll be wonderful. I know.
Well, I'm preparing, I'm putting the little dummy tapes, all around so the dummy don't hit his head left and right.
Covering up the outlets and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
don't
that's
touch
so
that dummy.
great.
Yeah.
Sherry says, congrats.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Rena says, we're not sorry you joined Rockapella.
Yeah, good, good.
All right, so let's continue on because now we're talking about Rockapella. So the first, right out of the gate, I remember we had a transition.
Yeah, that was a scary one.
We had a transition, and we had to make an album, and kind of, back then it was you make an album to kind of seal the deal. But we were doing this with Barry. Barry wasn't quite gone. So we made an album that you were on part of, and that
Yeah,
album, as many of you know, was Smilin', right there. And
yeah.
then, so Smilin' has Barry and George on it. And
Mhm.
then, of course, I had photos because I think we'd done all the artwork and a lot of the recording, and we're like, okay, how can we debut George? So, it's a beachy album,
Yeah.
and so I said, George, come down to Florida. We've done all these photos, and get in the pool.
Yeah.
And
Here's some
I think it looks completely appropriate. Look at all these sunny fellas.
Yeah, I mean
But
it's
there's
great.
George, and now
I'm
I
in
apologize. Like,
yeah, I'm in the water. I'm
we.
saying this is some kind of initiation, but I guess I got
It's like you popped up out of the water to join the band,
yeah.
like a merman. What are
Yes.
you? What are your memories, if any, of that album? I know you're only on few tracks, but
It was cool because it's
it's your first
like
time.
yeah, but what was so unique about it had Barry and my flavor on it.
Right.
So that to me was sort of the transition moving to like a different era. So it was nice, and I love recording. I think it's a fun thing to do. Actually, sitting in my recording studio right now, which I have yet to use in a year or so, but it's nice to have this room and all the equipment, you know. But it was great because, like I said, when we made that transition, you could hear the sound changing. It was even like my first gig when I came to watch you guys, and then you brought me up on stage at BB King's. Man, the women screaming for Barry about blew my mind. They were crying and screaming, and I'm like, "It's okay, guys." And then
Yeah.
Barry and I tripping over each other. It was
Yeah,
hilarious.
I remember that now. And you know what? You won them over as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure everyone will back me
Yeah.
up on that. And then we moved on as we did back then to Christmas because you
Oh
can't
yeah.
ever have too many Christmas albums. And I
Yeah.
remember kind of torturing the five of us for that artwork.
Yeah, that was fun standing in was it
Yeah,
like a
that's
hotel or
in
something.
Grand Central Station, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
dragged you around.
The boxes and
Yeah, we were in the
yeah.
subway. People remember there's a shot in the subway, and
Yeah, you got good eyes, man. I mean that's gonna last in people's minds forever. So
you're very kind. That was a beautiful project. Always a little bit frantic, but both
yeah,
were on the same label. And then we did something closer to home. We did that
yeah,
where we left the label that we were on, and we're like, okay, let's embrace this. Scott's been in Japan. We've all toured in Japan. George is Mr. Japan. So this is really the second album that really is a George album, I think. And of course,
yeah.
it's got solos from you on there.
And it
Do
was
you,
so funny when we recorded this because some of that is live, right? Yeah,
it's
it's
the
it's
whole
live.
thing is live. Yeah, the whole thing is live.
Live.
Yeah.
So we're in Japan and we're recording this, and my first time going, and I lose my voice.
Oh
So
my God, I forgot this.
yeah, I
Oh,
lose my voice, and I'm like,
what?
what do I do? Like, we got these shows at Billboard Live with the Blue Note, and
What?
I'm like, I lost my voice. So I just literally rested all day and like I don't know. It just came back throughout the show. I mean, even Scott, I was like, yo, man, I don't even think we should be doing Papa Was Rolling Stone, man, because I don't think I got it. He was like, too bad you're doing it. So it was like, he's like, people's going to love this song, man. You cannot come to Japan and not sing this song.
It
So,
all worked out. It all
yeah.
worked
And
out.
by the end of the show, I had no voice, but at least every time I made it through it.
Uh, Deanna says, hands down, best Christmas album ever. That's Comfort and Joy. Let's go back here.
Yeah, she
Hands
loves it.
down, best Christmas album ever.
Yeah, she knows all the parts, so be careful when she comes to the
Well,
show.
she was very impressionable at that moment in history.
Yeah, I know it. I know it.
Oh man. Okay. Well, so this is a good segue to another question because uh, let's see here. We want to know. People want to know. Tell us about. Joe is asking. Tell us about recording and singing stuff from Comfort and Joy. He says specifically, "I'll Be Home for Christmas" and "Jingle Bell Rock."
Right. So
But you can talk about whatever.
yeah, I mean, Rockapella is so unique, and people don't realize this, but we literally recorded, all the stuff that we mainly do in Scott's little room at his house and, mixing and all of this. And we're standing up there, again, it's the temperature in Florida. It's hot.
That's right. You
So,
turn the air off, don't you?
yeah, because you can't get you can't get the air into the sound. So we all, for me, I just literally I learned my part because I wanted to be out in like 6, 7 minutes. Okay, so
Mm.
I'm just doing quick takes and getting out of there because it makes your mind go a little crazy in the heat. But what's so unique about it is this is what we all wanted. We wanted it to be real, not like this big lavish studio. When music was created, they didn't have, back in the day, they didn't have places like that. They did it in the bathroom to get the reverb,
Mhm.
just like when I was with Unique Attraction and it, in performing arts in Philly, we used to sing in the bathroom and stick our heads in the sink so that we could get the
In the
reverb.
sink? That's very
Yeah, like
specific.
they got the big sinks, the big sinks, just to get the reverb. I mean, so to do that and to come out with what people are buying and listening to every day is an unbelievable feeling. Unbelievable feeling.
Deanna is saying, "I know literally all the parts if you ever need a sub."
I told you. I told you she does.
Damn.
Yeah,
Phil in Brazil is saying two incredible albums recorded in the same year. I don't remember if it's the same year or not, but it feels like it.
that
A
felt like
great start for George. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And then Prince Alden Gaming says George was so amazing. I love this so much, and thank you for all you did for the group.
Yeah.
Well, that's very nice. And
Thank you.
I want to ask when you Joe has another question here that was emailed in. What was your first reaction when you took over for Barry Carl? So I'm not sure at what point we can answer that question. Like when you heard him, I mean,
Mhm.
I remember it as being welcoming, and of course you had to
Yeah.
do your own thing. Do you get stage fright?
Um, I don't get stage fright, but I'm always a little nervous before we hit the first note.
Does that help?
Yeah.
I've heard it does.
Because once we hit the first note, it's go time.
Yeah.
And I tell people, going back to the question the guy asked about how I felt,
Yeah.
Barry Carl has some pretty big shoes to fill. I mean, he made a presence, he had his own sound, he created what, came out of him. And I
Yeah.
was just hoping that when I had my chance that people will be welcoming to my sound because
Yeah.
it's different. I mean, I can imitate Barry a little bit, but I thought that they might want something fresh and new in the sound.
Yeah.
And then, how we started, cultivating that over the years. I mean, everybody knows that when Jeff and George are on the stage, it's going to be nasty,
It's gonna be
right?
funky down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
So
thing. Like,
I'm looking forward to a very funky Christmas.
yeah,
But
it's going
I know for a fact subsequent bases have told me this. Everyone, Ryan, Bryant, they have told me that they incorporate a little of each of you.
yeah,
The guys before, there's a little George, a little Barry. They have to, and I assume that you combined with Barry
Yeah, I
something.
mean,
Yeah,
that's why, that earlier question about what music I listen to,
yeah,
I incorporate it all because I think that sound is sound. And when you're listening to instruments trying to recreate what the voice sounds like, you got to give the same respect to that instrument.
that's
So I
right.
want to be just as good as they're playing that instrument when it comes out of my mouth as a human.
Joey said, I enjoyed singing Zombie Jamboree with George and the old group for my birthday years ago. Best
Nice.
birthday present ever. Joey, my mind does not keep such details, but I'm sure it was awesome.
Back to back.
Gone from my head, but
Yeah.
full respect to you. I know, of course, I know you, Joey, but I don't remember that at all. There's so many gigs, but somebody's got a tape or a picture of it somewhere. I'm sure, maybe you or someone you
Yeah.
know. Let's keep going because right after that, let's see, Comfort and Joy, live in Japan. Up comes Bang. We had a little hiatus.
Yeah.
We brought in somebody new. We brought in Mr. John Brown. This is the
JB.
first photo. This is in 42nd
Yeah.
Street.
Yeah.
Some of you may recognize there's a stairway on either side of us. That's the actual theater right there, if it's still there. And there's JB. He just came in. Friend from Florida, right? More or
Yep.
less.
That's the
Yeah.
boy. Yeah.
Yeah. And JB came in when Elliot retired. And so everybody's crossfading.
Yep.
And then that was really when we hit the gas on choreography because John
Yeah.
is a dancer, and of course you are effortless at doing that stuff. And some of the video that we showed introing you has the moves you kept up. It's hard. I have to tell everybody, if you haven't figured this out already, it's very hard to do bass or drums and move your feet in a complex way. There were even a couple times when you had to calm down and not dance, right? But some
Yeah.
things you were able to, right?
Because the sound was more important,
Yeah,
I
because you and
mean,
I are going off of where the other guys are
yeah.
singing.
Yeah.
So
And the
they can
choreography
kind of,
was
I'm
put
going to
together
move
from
here,
parts.
and we're all like, I'm going to move here,
Yeah.
Not easy. So JB comes along, and then we kind of regroup and we do some gigs, and we say, okay, we need to do an all originals album. We've had a long history of doing originals, and we decided that everybody would contribute originals to this album. So you had No Pressure, which is coming. We heard that leading up to
Yeah.
the show. We all had at least one, if not several, on there. What are your memories of recording Bang? Because kind of hit the
It was
gas on that.
really it was really cool because, that was the first time that I was honored to put a song on an album. So I'm like, man, this is really unique. And Scott, gave us all and you also talked about how we should all put something that's original from our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying to myself, oh gosh, what am I gonna do? So how I came up with No Pressure is so funny. I was at Walmart and this guy was trying to take all of this meat out of the store without paying for it.
Oh no
So
way!
yeah, so they stopped him and the security stopped and he's like, no, I know what you're talking about. And he was like fumbling around while they were at the door. So there's a car that pulls up to the door. He walks out, gets in the car and pulls off. So I'm thinking, this is crazy. So if the police came in here right now and they asked me a question and I said, hey man, all I want to do is help you feel my groove and dance. You just say,
All right.
what's the lyrics? Excuse me, officer. I didn't see nothing.
Yeah,
All I want to do is dance,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So that's how I came up with that.
I've been wanting to do a remixes
Yeah,
album, and every time we talked about remixing something, this is before you and during you and everything. Um, the first thing people would say is, "Oh, give it to this person who would remix," but what they would take it out of acapella.
yeah.
And you know as well as I do, we don't have to
Mhm.
do that.
No,
We can use acapella. So
right.
definitely that song would be on the remixes album.
Yeah, it was fun, man. I wish we could have got that choreography down because I think if we would have done that
Did you
choreo with that.
start? Wait a minute now. Oh, that's right. There was an attempt.
Yeah,
Oh
we
my
had
god,
like one attempt that we tried, and I mean, it was working out, but we just never went back to it because it was
it's a
so
lot.
complex.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's a lot. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I remember everybody focusing in on the choreography for
Hmm.
the title track, Bang.
Yeah. That
And
was
that was the big thing. And you guys
yeah.
were out of breath after the dang
Yeah.
thing. And we had movie clips going in the back.
Right.
It was as
Yeah.
much as humanly possible for that song. Good times. And you know that became the game Rock Band. You know that became a game song for Rock Band. The first a cappella song on Rock
Yeah,
Band.
I heard about that. I was like, man, this is nuts. I
You can see
mean,
a what's called a gameplay video. Of course, some people know that
respect.
of
Yeah.
that, and people playing in the little lights. If any
Yeah.
of you still have Rock Band, I know it's out there. You should be able to find Rockapella's "Bang" on there,
That's
starring
me.
George Baldi.
Yeah.
So Kevin had left us before this, and I think that doing that album really cemented that change to Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course labels want too, so we did another Christmas album.
Yeah.
I remember this. Now this, a couple of these songs ended up with the Boston Pops. Not too
Yeah.
long after that, this was 2014, something like that. We started doing Christmas songs with the Boston Pops. Anyway, another you can't go wrong with Christmas. Christmas is
Hmm.
coming, everybody.
Yeah.
Get your rockapella music.
Yeah.
um, by the way, let me know in the comments. We've been toying, and by we I mean me, been toying with putting a few things out on vinyl. There's a huge wait list to get things done on vinyl because there's a backlog right now. Not enough pressing plants. But, maybe some sort of Christmas collection, something like
Yeah.
that,
Nice.
or something not Christmas. If you have any thoughts, put it in the comments. Um, and then along comes,
Yeah.
you're
Here we
coming
go.
back home with Motown and
Here
more.
we go.
Long
Here
time
we go.
coming, but
Hmm.
you get to finally do your influences, really. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
on a recording,
Yeah,
Um,
and it helped with the group, like I said, as the sound was changing, it just had to be done.
yeah, we had
The
been
soul
performing
that
Motown.
started
Yeah,
coming into the group's sound. These were some of the songs that definitely need to be done with just vocals.
yeah, yeah. Well, let's talk about what I mentioned briefly, the Boston Pops.
Yeah,
Rockapella, this is early on. We started as early as, I want to say, 2005. This is a rehearsal in Symphony Hall in Boston. You can see we're not wearing a suit, but rehearsal with the Boston Pops. I think it was 2005. And, um, you know, it's a fascinating thing. This is when it was new to us. Kevin's still there, of course. Elliot's still there. And that's the arranger right there, Mr. Hollenbeck on the left that's blocking you, unfortunately. Sorry about that.
yeah. No, you're fine.
Mr. Hollenbeck, the late Mr. Hollenbeck, who, if you ever go to a Rockapella Pops show and you kindly stepped in not too long ago for one of those in Florida, we sang that man's arrangements, his
Yeah,
orchestrations. But there we are that's Keith Lockhart in the middle. And I think our first time, manager Andy is on the right.
yeah,
What do you remember things about that? I mean, I remember it being thrilling. We had work to do, but it was
yeah.
amazing.
I just remember how friendly they were to us. I mean, inviting our sound into their sound, and they're very pitch heavy, so we had to be sensitive to making sure that we were on point. So when we got it right, it was magical. When it was wrong, it was a train wreck. But that's what rehearsals are for. But standing on that stage at the Symphony Hall, and when they hit their first note, man, there were tears coming out of my eyes because I could not believe that we had that sound behind us
Like
because we
2 feet behind your butt.
yeah, we're so used to it without it. It was like
2 feet.
that right there. Right.
More or less the Boston Symphony, to maybe 2 to 4 feet behind your booty.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
like
the best backing band, man. I remember that, and I remember doing the 4th of July,
yeah, let's do the
and
entire.
it was like a beautiful night. It wasn't humid. The wind was blowing. And we're on TV, and we're in front of 20,000 people probably live plus
It
TV.
was, yeah, it was crazy. I mean, when they counted, it said 500,000 people were out there.
500,000. Okay.
Yeah, and what I remember the most about the 500,000 people was the way that we got to the actual Esplanade. You know, we had to walk through the policemen. They
Right.
had to sweep our vehicle, and then the Planet of the Apes cops on the side banging on people's windows, telling them to get out of the way. And the driver's like, "I love this," and we just
I know, right? I remember, when we would do corporate events before your time, we would do corporate events in Vegas, and there would always be a limo because Vegas is all full of limos. And I
yeah,
remember thinking, this is not glamorous. It's a stretch limo with 5 or 6 or 7 sometimes people,
yeah,
if you count management. But the limo to the Boston Pops 4th of July,
yeah,
that was glamorous, even though it was a
yeah,
small car. Yeah.
yeah. It was
Yeah, yeah.
fun,
It was
fun.
cool. I'm sorry I don't have pictures from the 4th loaded up here, but the
Okay.
video is online.
Yeah,
And then, of course, here's the performance where that's at
yeah,
Symphony Hall where everybody's dressed in white. My mom grew up listening to those shows, and Scott did, of course. And it's a
yeah,
long-standing tradition. Those of you who are not in the Northeast may not know it, but your parents might because it was all over PBS.
yeah.
Well, G-Man, this has been amazing. And I want to remind everyone that George is touring with us this
Yeah.
holiday season. So if you come to a Christmas show, it's George Baldi doing the Grinch.
Yeah, I
It
got to
doesn't.
dust it off. I'm ready though. But that's so cool because remember when we did the Boston Pops and we sang our songs and they invited me back to sing the Grinch?
Yeah. What happened?
Yeah. So they just brought me back by
Without
myself.
Rockapella, yeah.
Yeah. And they were featuring me as doing this song, and I was, the second person on that stage to sing the Grinch, and I was freaking out because they're playing, and I'm standing in the corner, and then he waits for me to come over and say, "Digga da digga da digga da digga da digga. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch," and I'm like freaking out, like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this." Don't
How
forget
did
the
it
lyrics.
go? How did it go?
Yeah, I just like don't forget the lyrics. It went great, man. I did it like I think I did 2 nights. And I had to wait and wait and wait for the whole concert, and then here comes my part, and I'm like, "Wow, this is nuts!" And it happened all because of you guys.
Well, now I remember they talked about doing a recording. I think that didn't happen. Is that right?
Yeah,
But
they didn't do the recording,
yeah.
but the live version. I think they wanted it to be a little bit more classical in a way. Yes, so a little more
Didn't they know what they were getting?
to the tempo
Jeez.
and spot on when it comes to and I'm like I want to have some interpretation here. I mean, this is going to be my legacy, so allow me to just float a little bit in
So it
this.
wasn't the Rockapella. It was the original. Yoda mean one da da
Yeah,
dum, Mr. Grin.
yeah,
Ba, 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 bum.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah, yeah.
standing there like, man, this thing is boring, but I wanted to make it my own, and I think the audience loved it. I mean, I got a standing ovation, so
Oh,
I
that's
must
awesome.
have done
Are there
something.
photos from that?
I don't know.
You
I
didn't know.
have
You
no.
didn't have any friends in the audience taking pictures, right?
What's the curly guy the curly head guy that we would always talk to?
Oh,
He,
from the Pops.
yeah,
Yes, I know what you
he
mean. I'm
would
not going to say his name,
probably
but yeah,
have some of that, some of that stuff. He
some
was a really good
publicity
guy.
thing. We got to get
Yeah,
our hands on some of that for the
yeah.
next hangout.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to step away just for a second to show where is that the the thing with the here we go. There we are. There I am. So hang out for just a second while everybody soaks in the holiday dates. See those? October 14th is not with George, but the holiday stuff is. And we are possibly adding a Boston date. It's pending. Unfortunately, that will not be with George. It will be with the amazing, talented Armand Hutton. But those that you just saw will be with Mr. George Baldi. So I can't wait. Amanda can't wait. She just got her ticket.
Nice. There you
Thanks,
go.
Amanda. Be like Amanda.
Yeah, there you go. I feel like
Ari
that's that.
says, thank you, Jeff and G. I'll see you both in December. Can't wait.
Nice, nice.
And Pamela says that too. So anyway, George Baldi, it's been a total blast having you, and you can come back anytime. We got to figure out another topic, maybe Japan.
Yeah, that'll be
topic,
fun. My
Japan.
pleasure.
Well, stay tuned in December for George and Jeff's show. The other guys can come too. But thanks everybody for hanging out, and have a very safe fall. We'll see some of you. I will see some of you in October, and then we will both see everybody in December. Talk to you later, and don't forget,
Nice.
October, Carmen San Diego cast is signing autographs. Sorry, George.
Hey, it's all good, man. You know,
That's
that's
the
how I
next
got to
hangout.
it. Yeah.
Take care, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take
See
it
ya.
easy, man. See
Bye, everybody.
everybody. Bye.